Welcome back. Yes, I'm back in here. So I watched a movie today, and I think I need to talk about it. I don't expect people to watch this video. I don't know how I feel about having watched said movie. So I've heard about it. I've heard about it for decades, and I've thought, eh. In general, 80s. I mean, if you want to call it grindhouse, you can, but I wouldn't elevate it to that level. To me, Grindhouse should be a little bit better on the acting part of things, definitely better on the dubbing part of things, and there should be something that sticks with you with the movie. Pieces doesn't do that. Pieces doesn't have much of a plot or point or characterization or much of anything. So why talk about it? Well, first off, there might have been a good movie in there. So you've got a child who's putting together a jigsaw puzzle, which is it's just a naked woman. It's not a big deal. But his mother comes in the room and freaks out and yells and screams at him. You're just like your dad, just like blah 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 blah. So kid runs off and he comes back with an axe, as kids tend to do, and murders his mother, as kids tend to do. And of course, the police come and they find just blood everywhere and parts of the body everywhere, and they find the kid in a closet and he's all upset, so he goes off to live with his aunt. And then you fast forward 40 years because otherwise you might be running the risk of actual characterization. And then from there it's just here's some murdering and some more. And the cops, the police officers are again, they'd have to be characters. There's a young man at this college where girls are getting murdered all of a sudden. It doesn't make a lot of sense really, and it doesn't matter. I fast forwarded through. Here's the honest truth. When I watch a movie that's this bad, I'm just gonna see. Let's just go ahead and skip some 10 seconds here. Uh huh. Yep. Okay. All right. This is nothing. When a movie is an hour and 25 minutes, and I'm doing that, it's bad. Now, there were parts that I laughed at. They have a tennis match between two young ladies. Whoever filmed that clearly has never watched a tennis match. It like when somebody's doing this and they hack the ball down, meaning the ball's headed down, and then you see the person on the other side doing this. I'm going, well, where'd that ball come from? Because clearly that's not the ball that she just put over the net. And they never show them actually playing tennis together. My guess is neither of the actresses were any good at tennis. So somebody's either just throwing the balls at them, which is possible, and they're just smacking it. Because there's no way that a lot of those shots were anywhere near the court. But it was weird. It was weird because then there's people watching and clapping and cheering, and there's an announcer, and I'm like, okay, what? Why? How? Why is this? Why is this happening? And then one of the young ladies who is playing tennis is walking around at night, and she runs into a Bruce Lee lookalike who starts a kung fu fight with her because that's what happens. And you never see him again. She knocks him out. I guess I don't know. She hits him below the belt, and he goes down. And she's like, it's down. And the one kid who's in this movie the whole way through, I thought he was going to end up being the killer, although it wouldn't have made any sense. But it doesn't matter. None of it makes sense. So why not have somebody who wasn't born at the time of the start of the movie end up being the killer? And I don't know, 40 years went by, but he's still only 15 because sure. But he's like, oh, it's my kung fu instructor. What? So in the middle of the night, he just walks around kung fuing people. Like and then he gets up. The kung fu guy gets up and he laughs, and he leaves. You never see him again. So somewhere in 1984, there was a young man who was a kung fu instructor who started random kung fu fights in the middle of the night. I'm guessing with women, I guess. And he was I don't know how to finish that thought. I would love to like would he take the show on tour? Like, would he go around various? And here's the problem. Here's the reason I mention it, because in watching the movie, I realized the kung fu guy was brilliant. This was absolutely brilliant. So the murderer that you don't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the killer is. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I could not have possibly been less interested in who actually was killing people. But he killed his people with a chainsaw, which isn't really a weapon that you can just sort of walk away with. Like, he's just sort of, I guess. And then, like, there's the big landscape guy who has one eye half closed, and I kept thinking he's Bluto. He's Bluto from Popeye. He's Bluto. So if you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. He's Bluto. So Bluto gets framed at one point for this, but I mean, how do you just casually carry a chain? Like, they're heavy, they're big, they're huge. It's not really a good weapon to use. But where they miss out is that you've got a guy with a chainsaw, you've got a guy who looks like Bruce Lee who's kung fu fighting. Bruce Lee versus Leatherface. They blew it. It is unforgivable. The movie is badly written. It's a bad movie, but it's unforgivable that they had a chance to have Leatherface versus Bruce Lee. And you could have called it something else. Sure, it could have been Plastic Face versus Loose Brie. I don't care. You do what you can, because obviously, there's copyrights and all that. But it's not like movies haven't got around them before. Hello, Jason versus Carrie in Friday the 13th, Part 7. But she's not Carrie. It's such a wasted opportunity. That would have been such the better movie. He could have burst in and stopped the killer, and then kung fu fights with the survivor. This poor young lady. Are you okay? Okay, now fight. I mean, fight. You chased off the kid, but fight. I must fight. He has to fight every time he enters a room. He has to fight the person who's in that. It's just his code. It's what he does. It is the biggest, and I know people have said, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, of course it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. It's a nonsensical movie. It's written for exploitation. It's written to see how many young actresses can we talk into being in this movie. I don't know what the pitch would have been. I'm guessing the pitch would have been, we hid your ID, you get it back after you're in this movie. And that's why each actress is in like one scene and they're gone. I saw some reviews talking about how good it is, and I don't know what those people were watching, because I fast forwarded through a lot of it. It's an 85-minute movie. Might have taken me half an hour. Might have taken half an hour. Maybe. This is... Because, again, a lot of it is just very, very predictable. The dialogue is awful. It is laughable. I even realized towards the end of it, I'm like, you know what? I may have to watch this and get the whiteboard and take notes. And really give an in-depth review of why this is one of the worst missed opportunities ever in the history of cinema. This might be the most disappointing horror movie experience I have had since Halloween Resurrection, maybe. I've had some Scream 3. Scream 3 was pretty bad. People have talked themselves into the idea Scream 3 is good, which I think, fine. You want to talk yourself into it? Go ahead. It's not good. Oh, man. It's tough. And again, like, I'm not saying you're going to make, Citizen Kane, but you can make a decent horror movie. And I think that's what drives me nuts. It's sort of like a lot of what drives me insane about disaster movies is how lazy they are. The science is more terrifying than whatever crap Roland Emmerich comes up with to throw in his movies. And, I watch this and going, well, the science doesn't back that up. Especially when it's like, an asteroid impact on the Earth. You could have, you could tell a horror movie action kind of set piece with Yosemite blowing up. But no, we have to just and with horror movies, it feels like it's similar, where there's an idea in there. Where did Kung Fu Guy go? Why didn't he come back? I spent the rest of the movie going, these cops, they're morons. We need Kung Fu Guy. He needs to be here. Yes, he is susceptible to shots below the belt, but who isn't? That's his weakness, and it's okay. It's fine. That's Brock Lesnar's weakness too. I have no problem with it. So I realize that I may have to bite the bullet. I may have to watch it again. Maybe knowing who's guilty and who the serial killer is in the movie, maybe looking back I'll see even more things that just don't make sense. I'm guessing. I think my favorite part is that, like, there's just a bunch of people getting offed right, left, and center, and the college doesn't want to have a panic. What? like that college would have been locked down. Like, it just would have been. Where is Kung Fu Guy now? He might be at a college campus near you, causing a ruckus. Now, by now, he'd be in his 70s. My guess is he can still throw those kicks and those jabs, and he can still do, because he was my favorite character, because he's a character and nobody else really was. It just didn't matter. It didn't matter. And again, I think the other thing too is, when it's a slasher movie, you want to see some creativity in how they work, and there just isn't any. It's just, there isn't any. The effects are bad, so by today's standards, you can tell how fake everything is. It's still not a movie I would watch with my wife. I think she would find it pretty disturbing that somebody wrote and made that movie, which is something her and I have discussed before. But that's considered a cult classic, apparently. That's why I watched it. Because I was like, this is considered a cult classic, and one of the reviews I read that was bad said, if you haven't watched it and you're a horror fan, you have to watch this movie. And I thought, all right, well, I'll give it a shot. I don't know. So if you've seen the movie, what did you think? Why did you hate it? Why was it stupid? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I don't know what else to say about it. It was this thing that was on my TV, and I watched it, and man, when 80s horror is bad, it's really bad. Like, it is just awful, and there's nothing redeeming about it. And then kung fu fighting. And just the fact that the kid comes around the corner. Hey, it's my kung fu instructor. Why is he face down on the ground? Huh. And he just jumps up. Yeah, I'm fine. Alright, I'm going for my walk. Alright. Can we follow him on his walk? Can we follow him on his journey? Is he walking the earth? It's important to follow people that are walking. Oh, man. Yeah. I have to watch that I'm not actually infringing on the copyrights of Kung Fu. Huh. Alright, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And as I've always said, with this channel, you never know what you might get. There's varying different videos on different topics. And now somebody's buzzing the tower. Anyways, if you heard the plane going over, it seemed pretty low, but we're not that far from the airport, so all right. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you haven't seen it, I don't know that I can recommend it. I don't. And if you are in my age range and you're like, well, I never saw that either, there's a reason. There's a reason. There's usually a reason why we haven't watched these cult classics, which I think sometimes is just a way of saying, this is a crap movie, but it's so bad, you kind of have to see it. And I will close with this. I don't think it's so bad that it's good. There are some so bad that it's good movies. I would not put this movie in that category. But let me know what you thought. Pieces is such a good name for a movie, too. And some of the concept of why, and there's some good there. And then the end. What? So if you've seen it, to me, the end is best summarized with the word what? Because you have to have a stinger. It's an '80s horror movie. You have to have a cliffhanger. But that might have been the dumbest cliffhanger in the history of horror movies. Yeah, yeah, that's. I think that's the dumbest cliffhanger in the history of horror movies. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon.